All right, welcome to the Passion Behind the Art Show. It's your host, Daryl, and I have a couple amazing people with me, Emily and Hunter. Kind of introduce yourself. Emily's been on the show before, but I would love for you guys to kind of introduce yourself and some of the things that brought you together, like biologically and and
I mean, I
business
don't know if we need to go
wise.
into all that. I think that's a different podcast, but
Yeah, I set myself up for that one for sure.
Well, let's do age before beauty. So I'm Emily, and first of all, Daryl and I, our paths keep crossing. It's so funny how I keep seeing you at different conferences and events, so we can't escape each other, which is kind of fun. So I've been a business consultant for 30 something years and started my career as a designer. Actually, went to design school. Know what kerning is. That's my one joke that is really old. And realized really quickly that I wasn't really good at design, but I was really good at kind of like basically helping people run their business, creative businesses. And I didn't want to leave the creative profession, so I ended up being a consultant. Well, first I managed a studio for about 7 years, a design studio that I grew from from 5 people to about 50 people when I left. Had moved them 3 times, all kinds of things. So I had a lot of experience with that and had a lot of freelance clients. And so at one point I decided to start a consulting practice. And I've been doing it for a long time and absolutely love what I do. And basically we help our clients evolve and grow their creative businesses. So I'll help them consult on like vision, future vision, their positioning, their specialization, their new business strategies, their staffing, pricing, kind of how to manage projects and clients and staff, kind of all of the business areas that I used to say many creatives were not good at and need help with, but now actually creatives are really good at it and they just need to evolve their practices. So a lot of it's just helping people do even better.
Sweet, Hunter.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And so I am Emily's daughter. But how I ended up here was maybe nature, maybe nurture, but also my own interests and passions. So I also have always enjoyed the creative side of things, but I never was creative enough, or I didn't really like doing the hands-on work of design, but I always really loved working with creatives, artists. So I went to school for business and then worked within our clients. So worked within creative and advertising, targeting, marketing, advertising agencies, and did the business stuff like project management, account management, business development, operations. And I was working within that. And so that's kind of the value. And then I brought the insight of being able to actually see how the inner workings of our clients, how they actually function, and how the things that we recommend to our clients infiltrate down to the employees and to the staff and to the team, and how to make how to make our recommendations and strategies more sticky, because we have a sense of okay, it's not just the principals, this is really a full team we have to look at. So I come bringing into that experience.
Sweet. So
Yeah.
Emily, you were typing so ferociously. One of the interesting things about what you guys do is and can you say the name for me? I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to destroy it.
It's called CASA
Sure.
DAVKA.
I pronounce it CASA DAVKA. So
Okay, sweet.
obviously different pronunciation.
Yeah, we can explain it
But
if you'd
essentially,
like.
can we? We actually, so when we came together, she was a solo consultant. And so her business was her. And we were like, well, I'm going to join the business. We want to make sure that the business is both of ours, which it is equally. And so we are like, we need a name. And of course, it's still a small business. So our faces, our names are still a huge part of the business. But we want a name that represented both of us, that brought us together. So the Casa part, which is house in Spanish, essentially makes sense because, we're family, but also the idea of we really treat our clients like people we care about and people that we want to also succeed. And so we just like the kind of the warmness of Casa. And then Dafka, what does Dafka mean? It means a lot of things. It's a Yiddish word or a Hebrew
Okay.
word.
Hebrew word.
Um, a Hebrew word. And we're also, well, I'm part Jewish and she's Jewish. And the word means, what does the word mean exactly? It doesn't really mean anything exactly.
Sort of like
Do you want to speak to it?
honesty, kind of like a general honesty,
Okay.
a little
Sweet.
bit.
Sweet. I love
And
that.
so
Yeah.
we were trying to pick out, and also the whole the Hebrew part is because I'm Jewish, but also the Casa is because my husband is Puerto Rican, and Hunter lives in Colombia, so we wanted to combine the kind of heritage that we were both coming from.
Sweet.
So
Sweet. So what is it like trying to get creatives? I know you do more than this, but what is it like getting creatives organized?
There,
It really depends.
Hunter.
I think creatives have
Yeah,
changed a lot. Where I think it used to be
yeah,
a generalization where creatives are more disorganized, but I actually find a lot of our clients now, especially because we work directly with the business owners, are actually quite organized. But I think what
yeah.
we like to do is it's something we talk about at the beginning of our consultation. So we're not consultants who have like cookie cutters ways of approaching things, right? Like, of course, we have our best practices and the ways we work, but we always really like to try to work with our client and find the ways that work for them to make sure that like this is like going to be sticky, that they're going to remain organized. And so I think it's just, and I think if we're organized also, then that allows them to be organized. So we kind of provide that organization and the backing. And that way, if they have any questions, we can quickly like send them to the document or send them to where they need to go.
Okay.
So I think you could speak more to this, but that's what I would say is like, I think a lot of our
Yeah.
clients, like they get the seriousness, they're running businesses, they have employees, they feel really proud of that and they feel responsibility to that. And I think a lot of people, especially like a little bit post COVID, I think a lot of people like looked at their priorities and been like, I love my
Yeah.
business and I want to run a successful business. Not only do I want to just do great creative work, but I want to run a successful business that pays my employees well, that we make money, that values our industry. And I think that kind of pushed people to be more organized, each in their own way, of course.
Yeah. When I first
Yeah.
started my practice, it was artists running businesses, right? So that they needed a certain level of organization and, being really on top of them. The world has changed a lot. And now the people who are running creative businesses are business people first, or most of our clients are. So it's much easier to keep them organized because they really focus on their business. And that's really great for us because, which is what I love about our business, we constantly help them like evolve their practices. It's not just like we're not starting from scratch. They already have a really good solid practice and we're taking them to the next level. And so a lot of our clients just need elevation and kind of what's next, and that's kind of really exciting for us.
Interesting. So when it comes to like structuring things out, because I'm very fascinated with this. If someone wants to be a consultant, what would you say? Because I think as a creative, like I'm a creative first.
Yeah.
Like for me, my creativity is first. Consulting
Yep.
would be secondary. But to make the consulting part the focal point of your business, like what are some of the things you would say for a creative to switch that mindset, or how did you guys kind of switch that mindset?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like, I think it's actually a general advice we'd also give to creatives. I think it's like
Yeah.
get experience in what you're doing first. So like, for example, before I joined the business, which I was trying to explain before, I worked within our clients' businesses, right? To get that context. So I think kind of it's like that's for consultants. I think when you are going to be a consultant, it's great to have that like on the ground experience. So you actually know how things function. Otherwise, you're just coming in and recommending things that you don't know are actually going to like stick or like actually going to make sense. Like I think having that context, like when, my mom used to be a designer, I worked within the agencies, like having that context has allowed us to both like have empathy for our clients, understand where like some of the pain point part are, et cetera. And it's kind of similar to what we also tell, like sometimes we talk to students or when my mom was a teacher, and she could probably explain this more, but like what she says, like you shouldn't just like start your own business as a creative, right? You should work within businesses, learn models, learn what types of things that you like, what things you're good at, what things you're not, before you open a business. I think the same with consulting. You could add to that, but
Yeah. I think a lot of it's just when you start any kind of practice, right? Whether it's a creative practice or a consulting practice. If you're running your own business, there's some skills you need too. And one of them is being a risk taker, right? Being able to take risks when you own your own business is kind of really important. And being able to kind of pivot and change with the different trends. So as a consultant, I think one of the things we pride ourselves on is we know exactly what's going on in the industry at any given moment. Because the industry, as you know, has changed drastically over the years.
Yeah.
And so I think being aware of trends is kind of really, really important, and not to be kind of fixed in your way of thinking that can't adapt for the current situation, right? So I think
yeah.
those two things, and also being willing, we tell this to our clients all the time, because creatives, one thing the creatives don't love doing is business development. And so when you, even as a consultant or as a person, as a practitioner who has your own business, you really need to focus on business development. That's kind of your main goal, right? Is to generate business.
Yeah. I think the other thing I just was thinking about, I think as consultants, we think about some of our clients, like, and we always recommend, one thing we recommend to our clients is specializing, right? And becoming an expert in your clients' industries, which is what we also do as consultants, right? Like we're consultants within the creative industry with branding, graphic design, marketing, advertising firms, and that's our niche. And I think from a creative perspective, if a creative firm is trying to be more consultative, right, they need to be experts in their client's field. And that's something that we always like recommend. Not that they need to be consultants, but we like that our clients should be we recommend that our clients are consultative to their client base, because that proves that they're experts, and then they get priced accordingly. They can really make sure they're providing good strategy. They can see results of their work, etc.
Awesome. There's something you said, I think it was Emily, about business development. Can you unpack that a little bit? Like, what do you mean by
Sure.
like they should get business development?
Because a lot of us, especially when you're on your own business, whether it's freelance or, we mostly work with firms, but business comes to you like by referrals, right? And that's really great. And I'm not saying that's bad at all. We're not saying that. We love that. The problem with that kind of reliance on referred business, kind of inbound business, is you're allowing the people that you know and the people that know you to control the direction of your business. So we really do recommend that you also are actively pursuing new opportunities and introducing yourself, what we call relationship building. We don't call sales, we don't call business development. We really call about relationship building. Building relationships with people that potentially can be prospects or connectors or collaborators or peers, so that eventually you bring in your own business and you are starting to attract the kind of people you want to work for. Because a lot of our clients, what happens is their business model constantly is pivoting depending on who they're working with at any given moment. They hire based on their current fires, right? They plan their finances according to what like big gorilla client they have, but they're not really thinking about what do they want out of their business and how do they get there. And so to us, it's relationship building is pursuing new opportunities that you want that really fit your goals and your vision and your business model. So being able to actually do outbound business development, which to us is not cold calling, it's relationship building.
That is very interesting, because when you said that, especially creative, they start operating their business as per the work they get.
Yeah.
That is real. That is very true as a creative. That's usually what happens. Whatever I'm getting in that season, especially when I first started out, whatever I'm getting that season, that is the business model that I have. Yeah. And as it changes, and that may be because that same client that I did one thing for wants me to do something else, and then I start doing that next thing, and so it's actually pretty accurate. So that's just interesting.
And then sometimes it's wonderful, right? So like when I first started working with my clients, I really just wrote proposals all day long. I just helped them write proposals. But then people were like, Emily, you should do this for me, and you should do this. And I realized what they were asking me for was things I actually love to do and can do. So I ended up expanding my business services because in adaptation to my current clients. But then as I started pursuing new opportunities, I realized where my niches were, what my passions were. And it wasn't in proposal writing. So that is not something we do anymore. But it was something that it still came out of my relationships. So it wasn't a negative to have people necessarily shape a little bit of my business because they saw things in me that I didn't even see. Right. So that's wonderful. But then I also wanted new clients that saw me in new ways.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So as you guys are taking this course, how long has it been like a tag team?
Almost 2 years, right?
2, 3, I have no idea.
Yeah. 3 years. So it's really hard because she actually has been part of my business for a very long time, right? So when I wrote my book 5 years ago, she was, and even before the book, I ran events.
That was 7 years ago now.
Yeah. So even like I ran events for my clients, and she was an active part of that. And then when I wrote the book, she kind of really did 90% of the work there. Maybe not 90, but good 50% of the work there, even though she didn't get any credit for it other than like a thank you in the acknowledgments page. And I did pay her. So she's been, and my clients have actually known her for years. Like she's kind of been involved with them in other ways. I'll recommend something and I'll be like, oh, Hunter don't know that. Let me bring Hunter into this. So, but officially, I think it's been about 2 years that she's an equal, full partner and fully full-time.
And CASA DAVKA was born.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been really great. It's been really fun because I think it also like we are able to like when you have two people in the room, you have two sort of like ideas and thoughts. So we're able to kind of like push our clients in different ways and kind of strategize. Like not that she on her own wasn't able to do that, but there's something really great about having a little bit more, not too many people in the room, but enough to like have a really nice dynamic. And I think sometimes like we have different approaches, right? We're different people, even though we're related, we're very different in lots of ways. So we're able to also handle and manage and provide recommendations to clients in different ways. And some suit, like sometimes they just suit different clients better or worse. And it kind of is like a really nice way to balance each other out. And it's fun to be a partner, right? You get to like, some of our clients who are solo partners, that doesn't make sense, are solo business owners and they have a team, they sometimes feel this like sense of like, well, I have no one else to like talk to about X, Y, and Z. And so it's always, I think it's nice to have a partner in crime sometimes in these situations.
Yeah. And I think our clients really benefit from it because they really hear from different perspectives. Because like Hunter said, we don't always agree or we have different perspectives. And so they hear kind of both sides. And it's really great. And so in that way, it works really well.
Yeah.
And our clients like also the age difference, right? So
Generation.
for me, they get years and years of experience, but for Hunter, they get much more of a on the ground experience. She has more. I used to say I have on the ground experience. I can't say that anymore. It's been 30 years as a consultant. So now Hunter brings that on the ground experience, which is really important, right? And so the combined knowledge that we both have has been awesome for our clients.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate, I guess, because I find this very fascinating. Now that I know that you guys are related, I find this very fascinating. How do you navigate just the relationship? And it may be a little bit easier because Hunter's in Colombia and you're in Philly. I don't know, but like kind of explain how you navigate if someone is interested. Okay, I want to do business with my family.
Yeah.
I mean, I think actually one of the things that we didn't really mention in this is actually being family members and related is helpful because a lot of our clients, not all, but like a good 50% of our clients are either best friends or were best friends or are best friends, married, related in some way. Like we have a lot of clients who actually, there's percentages. We look at the number of family businesses and family businesses are really popular. And especially I think in our industry too. And so we actually are able to bring that insight to our clients. And so I think one of the ways, and this is like the key to everything, is like communication, right? Like, and we're not perfect. Like, to be honest, we're not going to say like, I don't think either of us would say this is the easiest relationship to navigate, both being business owners and family and mother-daughter. Like, there's complications, right? But there's also things that are great out of it because we know each other really well and because we can communicate and all of that. We do like essentially like partner therapy, right? So we go to therapy to like make sure we have a space where we can talk about things. And we always know that for us, like our priorities on our familial relationship. So that's like always going to come first than business. And so making sure that we have our priorities straight. I think also role clarity, which helps in any business, whatever you are, like making sure we're both clear on who's doing what within the business and everyone's aligned on that. And just being honest with each other. You could add to this.
I have nothing to add. That's exactly what I would say. Yeah. I think that, for me, partnership is hard. I'm not going to deny it. It's very,
no matter
very hard.
what, whether you're family
clients,
members or whatever. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. So the therapy has really helped and really communication. Like one of the things we always joke with all the clients, kind of the magic answer to almost all their problems is communication, right? And partnership we have a lot of clients that are partners and they had challenges and always have challenges. And without communication, they don't communicate those challenges, they build up resentment. So Hunter and I agreed from day one that we would not do that. We would be honest with each other so that there's no built up resentment.
Yeah.
I think for me it was hard, I will say, in the beginning because I have a bit of an ego. And so when she corrected me or when she disagreed with me, I took it personally and that she didn't value. But then I realized she just has a different perspective and it was really amazing. So once I got over my ego, and that took me a little bit of time. I think that was my biggest struggle, is to get over my kind of like, I am right all the time consultant thought. Like she has different perspectives that are just equally valuable. And so it's been great for me because she really challenges me in some ways that I haven't challenged myself in a long time.
Yeah, I think we both challenge each other. I think that's the great thing about a partnership, right? You're going to challenge each other, and that can be tough sometimes, but it can be really helpful. And we challenge our clients together. We challenge each other. And I think we always arrive at incredible places because of that. And sometimes there's hard moments, but that's any partnership.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We've had to make time and space for just our personal relationship.
Well, yeah. And actually this is something that's, cause I was like thinking about some of the questions you asked, like boundaries. I think boundaries is really important in everything in life, communication and boundaries. She might think this a little less, but so for me, for example, like I am very much like when we're talking about business, we're talking, this is business. And then when we're personal, it's personal, and that there's no mixing. So when I'm back in the States and we're spending time together, let's say we're walking the dog. When we walk the dog, which is like at noon, right? And we've had business calls before, we have business calls after. I'll be like, we are not talking business, and I like don't kind of allow it because this is our time to like be together personally. She does not like that, but
I hate
for
that.
me, for me, it really helps. It helps me like distinguish between the two things. But we'll have some dog walks. I'm like, okay, we're gonna take this dog walk, and this is, I'm a little crazy, but this is the agenda for what we're doing here. But I think it helps us. Like, if we're going to a museum, just knowing that like we don't need to be talking about client stuff because that's a separate part of our lives.
And that's
And
something I'm
it's tough.
still working on and learning from her. Like, I don't have separation of church and state. There is, like, work is my passion, it's my love. And it's always been that way. And Hunter has other passions. I don't. This is my love.
It's not
And
true,
I
but
absolutely,
you have
and
other passions.
I started, honestly, this is a new effort of mine to grow other passions. But originally, when I first ran my business for many years, it was just my kids and my life and my consulting. So for me, that separation of church and state has been very hard. And I sort of hate all her like boundaries, but I get them and I'm learning to be better at it. It's hard because I'm always thinking about business. I'm always thinking how I can help my clients. And she is too, but she doesn't do it during her personal time. I do it
when
all
on
the
my
time.
business hours.
Yeah.
You know,
So that's our biggest challenge.
that is so fascinating to me because I feel like that's one of the things that I've tried to work on. It's like when I'm with my kids or when I'm with my wife, like my focus is that moment in time. But you know, in the back of your mind here, you got that project or that client. It's like, you know, if I
Yeah.
did it like this, and it's just like you're trying to your best to kind of shut it off,
Yeah.
and it's like so hard.
And
Yeah, I think it's
I'm
a
a
practice.
verbalizer. Like I like to verbalize my thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and Hunter is much more, she thinks deeply first before she speaks.
Gotcha.
And so that's also hard because I'm just going to like brainstorm and ideate. Even with clients, sometimes I'll come up with really
Yeah.
crazy ideas. And she's like, oh, but I didn't think about that yet. And I'm like, but I think it's a cool idea, you know, so, and the clients love
Yeah.
both of those approaches.
And we've had to
Right.
learn, I think, but I think that's why it's great. Like, I think that's what being a business partner is great because I think usually business partners bring different skill sets and different things. Like, there's things that like she's very like incredibly good at like brainstorming and spitballing, and then I'm good at like while she's doing that, thinking about those ideas and then like coming up with like, and here's what we'd actually do to make that happen. Like, you know, 15 minutes
Yeah.
later. So it really like it works. I think we're actually like we really do like business wise, we complement each other in a lot of ways. I think,
Yeah.
and we both have our strengths and weaknesses as anyone does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm already like learning so much already. I find this so fascinating. You said something earlier. I think it was Hunter, but you said that you guys have like a partner therapy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this
So we
this
we go
is
to therapists. Yeah. Like
Yep.
family therapy slash couples therapy slash business therapy. And
okay.
it's a way for us to kind of have like a space where we could talk about the things that we need to talk about that sometimes are hard to talk about just one on one,
Hmm.
especially because why we did it essentially is when I officially joined the business, I was like, and we knew this too. I was like, we need to make sure that we've seen our clients. Like we've seen clients who are best
Yeah.
friends from college start businesses who are married and or especially because we officially joined forces like after COVID, after, you know, like 20. And we had seen from COVID, a lot of the consultations we worked on were right. It was after COVID. We had
Yeah.
seen
It was
all
the
these
right after.
things. We had like, I think we always said people like, what's the most pressing thing that people are asking about right now? And right after that, there was all these huge, we had to deal with a lot of partnership tensions and big
Oh
shifts
my God.
organizationally to firms because what happened was people had been hiding all these things about like
Yeah.
what their priorities are in life, what they wanted for the firm, what their goals were financially, what they needed financially, what they needed with the firm, what their priorities were. And then COVID sort of like it was such a, you know, traumatic, intense moment and it pushed everything forward. And all of a sudden people were like running these businesses and realized they were completely not on the same page with their partner. So I think like seeing that for us too was like, especially as family members, as mother daughter, we realized like we need to make sure there's a space for us where we do feel and we feel comfortable talking to each other. But it's nice to have a neutral party come in and provide other perspectives and push us in other ways. And we also obviously each go to individual therapy and then we're able to like work on our own stuff and then bring it together and work together. And I think it was just sort of when I joined the business officially, I'm millennial. We're all about like in therapy. I was like, I want to make sure that we're prioritizing our personal relationship and that we have the space and that, business isn't going to get in the way of that. And again, I'm not saying we're perfect. Like, I don't think any relationship, business relationship, family relationship is perfect, but it helps us have at least like a space to share things and someone else like in a neutral way to look at things in a different way.
I think this is awesome. And I think one of the things, if you can look at it like this, you put these measures in because we are not perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's a kind of, I've just never heard that. I think that's just a fascinating insight to kind of do something like that. All right, so.
Well, I mean, also a lot of our clients sometimes use it as therapists. And there's a point where sometimes we get with some of our clients where we're like, okay, we can't actually help you here. Like, because business is like, it's personal, right? Like even I, as someone who has boundaries, it's still very personal. It affects your daily life. It affects your personal life. And so even with our clients, sometimes we're like, we love you and we want to help you, but we can't. There's only we could provide you all the best business strategies in the world. But if you are navigating this other thing personally, what are we going to do?
That's sweet. Awesome. All right. So I think you guys kind of spoke a little bit about like what you guys struggle with and kind of answered some of the questions before I even got there. Yeah. I guess we could get some fun questions. What is that thing? And Hunter can kick us off, and then Emily. What is that thing that you can't live without that's not your phone?
So definitely for me, it would be hiking. I mean, I guess it's not a thing, but like being in the outdoors. Like, I mean, I live in a small town in Colombia that's surrounded by mountains, and I could literally like go on a hike right now if I wanted to and like be ready to go. And I think it's just my space of the only place I could really just not think, right? I could just be very present. And so for me, like that would be like just being moved, being active, being in nature. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's very special for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about you, Emily?
So for me, it's similar. I like hikes. I'm not as rigorous hiker as she is, but I like long walks and hikes. But I can't live without my dog. My dog is kind of my lifesaver. Anytime things are going, I just need a walk. Even if when she passes, she's 13. I probably will not get another dog, although I'll be a dog walker. I'll probably be like a dog sitter for my friends' dogs because I can't live without dogs. They're just the best thing in the world. And so for me, it's my dog, and long walks. And I think the other thing is just I like being surrounded by people. One of the things, I recently moved to a city in Philadelphia, and I lived in the suburbs to raise my kids, and kind of was, despite I had a great life and I loved to raise my kids in suburbia and it was great, I was unhappy personally. I didn't have as many friends, and so now living in a city, I am so much happier. I'm back into an environment that I'm a city girl. We were talking about this before, about moving from New York to Georgia for you. Yeah. For me, it was moving from, New York to New Jersey wasn't a great move. Then from New Jersey to Philly was the best move I ever made because I'm just so much happier. I need to be surrounded by lots of people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've made so many friends here of all different ages and ethnicities. It's much more diverse here. I just absolutely love it. I'm just so much happier because of that. And I don't think I could live anywhere else anymore.
That's awesome. It's funny. One of my favorite places outside of New York to go to is Philly. I have some very special people that live in Philly.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a cool city.
Yeah, I really love it. There's so much going on here.
I'm curious, Hunter, like what degrees is it right now? Like how warm is it right now in Colombia?
It's like,
you can see by our outfits,
70. Like 70. We've actually been going through a winter, so it's it's been like in the 60s and a little bit and rainy, but it's pretty beautiful here.
So jealous. So jealous.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. You can kick this one off, Emily. Book recommendations.
Okay. Oh, it could depend. Well, what?
No, nothing.
First of all, I like to tell the story that my father was a bookseller. So he owned 2 bookstores in New York. So books are a big, big part of my life and actually my whole family's life. We have a slight competition in our family about how many books we read a year. My husband always wins because he's retired now and he reads. What?
Yes. He always wins.
He won the last 2 years. He's won. Like Hunter's otherwise Hunter usually wins.
No. He always wins. I'm always in second. And then after that, it's between you and Dylan.
We're a little competitive family. And so books I can't my husband has read like on average 2.5 books to 3 books a week. It's kind of insane.
He's also retired. So,
Yeah.
he has more time than we do.
But for me, I read I've been reading a lot of nonfiction lately just to understand the world better because the world is kind of a scary place right now. And I know we're not going to talk about politics, but it's really scary for me right now. So I've been reading books to understand the world better. So 3 of my favorite books that have just really changed my understanding what's going on in the world is Poverty by America, which is really eye-opening about how poverty has been created. And all the systems that are allowing people to be like encouraging poverty in some ways. It's terrible. Caste, The Origins of Discontent, about how we're a very caste-driven society. And the last one is Humankind, A Hopeful History. So that was really good because it gave me some hope. So I've been reading a lot of that, but I also love anything by Isabella Allende. I really love magical realism. It's kind of my favorite kind of book. So, and all the books that Hunter's going to recommend, we are on book reads, and so we share a lot of the same books. Goodreads. And so a lot of the books she's going to recommend also. But yeah, I would say I read anything. Like I'm pretty open to reading anything, but Hunter?
Yeah. Reading is like kind of similar. It's like separation church and state. I have a hard time reading nonfiction because I'm like, this is my reading is my moment to like just be and enjoy. Like it's like my TV. Like so, and I read before I go to bed. So I'm like, I don't really want to be thinking about business before I go to bed. I mean, do you want actual names of books?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do
All
it.
right.
Let's do it.
One I read recently was called The Bird Hotel, and it's about also like a foreign woman living in a tropical area. So I feel like I really relate to it. It's also a beautiful, like little magical realism, just a beautifully written, beautiful story about community, which is also something that is very important to me and something that I really feel living here. So The Bird Hotel. There's a really fun read. I think it's being made into some sort of series, so it's very popular. But The Sicilian Inheritance, very
Okay.
fun. You love that one too. It's like I think I read it in one sitting. It was like one of those books that like it was really well written. It wasn't like one of those.
Yeah,
It was
it's
like a
great.
really well written but fun, engaging, interesting kind of mystery book. The Woman, which is about women fighting in what was it? Fighting the
Vietnam War. Yeah,
versus the Vietnam War, and that was just
that's a
really,
fascinating book.
yeah, that was really fascinating. Because I think also like it's really great when you're like reading historical fiction. That's like you learn something
Yeah,
also, right? But
it's true.
that was really one of my favorites. And then another one was The Haunting of Alejandra, which is also a little bit magical realism, which I
I haven't read
enjoyed.
that one.
Yeah, it's a little dark, but it's good. But
Yeah.
we're big
Awesome.
readers. Like we could like go on and on. We're like, how do I? I think you had luckily I had just seen these questions just as I'd gone through like my Goodreads for 2024 and was like putting my recommendations up on Instagram because like all my friends are like always waiting for like which ones I'm going to recommend. Um, but yeah, we're huge readers, and I think you know it's great. But not everyone's every each their own.
Yep.
No, I love it. I mean, I'm definitely a big fan of historical fictions.
Oh, I
So
love historical fiction.
I'm trying to dive a little bit more into that because I've
Yeah.
been more business and leadership driven when it
Yeah.
comes to like reading material. I enjoy historical fiction, so I'm trying
Yeah.
to dive
Yeah.
into that.
There's also a good business book. So by our competitor, David Baker, which is my favorite book. If you ask my favorite business book, it's called The Business of Expertise. I don't know if you've ever read that book. I kind of always wish, I think I wrote him a letter saying I wish I wrote that book. It's such a great book. It's one of my favorite business books,
Sweet.
Business of Expertise. So yeah,
also have
I kind of like reading all kinds of books, but
Yeah.
I will say I'm trying not to do so many business books just because I do business all day long.
Right. It's
And
true.
I'm learning how to have that separation of church and state, so I'm not reading as many business books as I once did.
I love it. I love it. All right, so let's do the next question. Definitely curious about Hunter. What's your first hour of your day like? I guess because you live in Colombia, so I want to know what
Yeah,
the first hour is. Very interesting.
it looks pretty similar every day. It's basically like I do yoga and then I like go to the park, and the park is like the town center, and I sit at this corner coffee shop and I like check my notifications, my emails, and I just drink coffee, and like I kind of wait to see who potentially, depending, it's like if it's a work day, I'm pretty focused on my work, but if it's like a Saturday, for example, like I'll just go and see who I run into and see where the day takes me. But it's like very very chill and just very community oriented and being with people. And so usually, yeah, yoga, coffee, staring at the mountains, thinking, emails.
Everyone else's
Lovely.
dream.
It's pretty lovely. Also, the coffee is significantly better and significantly cheaper. So,
Yes, that's awesome. All right, Emily.
So for me, it's not going to the town center.
it doesn't.
So for me, it's usually I love a really long shower or a bath. Like I just love my kind of moment. That's my kind of quiet moment, to be really honest. And then I take a walk with my dog. I usually walk at least 45 minutes to an hour every morning. It's my time just to be by myself. I don't listen to podcasts. I just let my mind wander, which is not like my mind. My mind is always focused on business, so it's nice for me to use that time. And I like a really big breakfast. So I usually make some kind of really nice, solid breakfast. And then same thing, check my emails, kind of get my day started. So usually I have two. Oh, and I usually exercise or do yoga or meditate. So one of those three things I'll do.
Mm-hmm.
I just started working out about a year and a half ago, and it's been the most amazing thing ever. So it's been really very life-changing. Since I moved to Philly, I have now a workout buddy. So she keeps me accountable to working out. I never used to work out, so it's been great. It's been great for my mental health, actually, and my physical health. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think that there's a secret. I enjoy walks too. I'm just not able to do it as much as I would like because of my morning routine. But on the weekends, I'm going for like an hour-long walk and try to just. Yeah. And it's not. There's nothing going on. It's super quiet. Yeah. I find the most rural area in Georgia to go for a walk.
Yeah. I grew up in a family that took walks, just family walks, and I kind of raised my kids that way. We used to take family walks. And those are really important. I think those are great moments.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I was saying, I know we both started, we both make our bed. That was something that was very much instilled. There's like that study that's like you make your bed, like whatever. But I really think it's just like metaphoric that I've taught, like, I remember like one of my friends, I recently like taught him to do it. He's like, it kind of really was like this like metaphorical, like, okay, the day has started. Like we're closing the bed, we're closing that moment and it's time to move. So I think making your bed is very important.
She even makes bed at hotels, which drives me crazy.
Oh yeah, I do.
I'm like, there's a person that does that.
But it's like this, like if you don't make it, it's like you just, I don't know. It's just, it's like there's not, it's open. I don't know. I think it really bugs me. Yeah.
That is 100% my wife. I'm like, babe, there's no one coming. Like we're good. We could leave. Yeah, it's fine.
Actually, my son is like
a way of saying, like, okay, like I've now entered into this next moment of my day.
Yeah, my son is like the opposite. He's like kind of slovenly, and he's just much different than us, and not as organized. And for a long time, he never made his bed. And I sent him this book about I think it's Make Your Bed. I think the name of the book it's by some army general or something. It's the most ridiculous book. But I sent him this little book, and it really changed his life. He said, okay, I'm going to, and he started making his bed, and it really changed his life.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But everyone's different. I think I'm like, yeah.
All right, so what is next? What is next for you guys? What is the next thing in the horizon?
It's a good question.
Something. Honestly, we're still kind of figuring it out. It's a tough one. Like we definitely want to do something. But there's a lot of podcasts, there's a lot of books, there's a lot of things, but we know we want to do something. It's not very helpful. But we've talked about an event. We've talked about another version of Brutally Honest, the book. I don't know if we fully have an answer because we're not really sure, to be honest. But
we definitely know we have to do something.
Yeah.
In the past, we've done so much. Like I already done an event. I did a series called Evolve that was about growing your business. That was for about five or six times I ran that. I already wrote a book 5 years ago. So there is something new. We just don't know what that is yet. It's definitely not going to be a podcast just because we feel like there's just a lot of podcasts out there. So probably less of a podcast, I think.
Yeah. I think also like what we know, like when we do something, we also want to make sure it has value, right? So we've been like asking our clients and we like think about like what, like, for example, Brutally Honest, the book, like it's provided a lot of value for a lot of our clients and our consulting work and for people who aren't at the level with their business to work with us. And that's been great for us. Like we love giving back to the industry. We love advocating for industry ethics and values. So whatever we do, I think it's going to be around that, like providing a resource for the industry not just people who can work with us, like just kind of the entire industry. And anything that, speaking to like how the industry is growing and evolving and how we continue making sure that it's a valued industry, that we have industry ethics. So I think whatever we do, it'll be something that pushes for that because it's really, really important
Yeah.
to us. And it's the foundation of what we do.
Yeah, I love it.
But
Yeah.
we also don't believe in putting yourselves in too many. Like, so we have
Buckets.
so many clients that are involved
Yeah.
in everything. They have their side projects. They have like, they're design entrepreneurs and they have run their business, and then they have this side. Like, we don't believe in that. Like, I think that's really, unless you're doing good, you have to really have a solid business before you can kind of do all the other things. So we have a solid business. We always had a solid business, luckily. But I don't want to have too many side ventures. It's going to be one thing and one thing that we do really well.
Yeah. That we enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, that we enjoy. Yeah, that's
I
going to
love
be
that.
kind of important. And that's community based. I think a lot of us, like Hunter was saying,
Yeah.
we really care deeply about the industry, especially nowadays where it's not doing as well, right? It's really struggling. And so we really care about where the industry is going and what we're doing to affect that future. So it's going to be something around that.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, as we are right before we're getting ready to close soon, you mentioned about industries not doing it as well.
Yeah.
Can you unpack that just a little bit, and then probably offer maybe one or two solutions?
Yeah. I think, okay, I shouldn't say the whole industry is struggling. I
Right.
think that right now, the industry, in the last few years especially, it's saturated. There's a lot of people and they all have their own business. So we had a lot of people after COVID started their own business because they lost their jobs or they went right from school and started their business. So it's saturated. And as a result, prices have plummeted. And we actually wrote immediately, as soon as COVID hit, a whole thought leadership about don't lower your prices, because the minute you lower your prices, they're going to get lower and lower. They're not going to get higher, and they're never going to go back to where they were. So one of the things is about value. I think we are not doing great at proving the value of design to businesses. And that's through our pricing, but also how we deal with our clients. We don't ask about like success metrics. We never ask them like, how are we helping your brand move forward? How have we, I hate to use this expression, but move the needle for you, right? So it's about elevating our value as an industry in the eyes of businesses. I think a lot of firms are struggling with that, and because a lot of them are just desperate for work and are compromising their values and doing things like work for hire agreements where they, allow clients to own everything they do, or agree that they can't promote their work, or so they're agreeing to clauses in contracts that are just really hurting our industry. And those are the two that really drive me crazy: the work for hire and the lack of promote. You can't talk about the client or show their work. Like, then why do this? Like, why do this work? That's how we get other clients. So agreeing to these terms is really hurting our industry because now it's showing up in more and more contracts. So, and also people are still doing work for free. And I disagree with that strongly. Like, there are firms that still donate their services to nonprofits. And while I love to support nonprofits, if you really care about a passion or a cause, volunteer your time, volunteer your services, but don't volunteer your creative, because that has value. And other people specialize in nonprofits, so you're taking away work from them. And so a lot of us are, there's some firms out there that, in particular, that are doing like, they have really big clients that make a lot of money. And so they do the fun projects like restaurant design for free because it's adding to their portfolio and makes their staff happy, but it's taking work from other creative firms. So there's things that are happening in our industry that are, I think we're trying to stand up for and make our clients believe in and understand the impact of their actions on the greater good, not just on themselves.
I love that.
Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I think, yeah, just like, I think it's like just knowing, I think no, there's no like solution, but I think it's knowing who you are and building a business that's deliberate, right? Not just going, again, like relationship building, not just going based on referrals, like building something deliberate that's yours, that you own, where you're an expert for your clients, you're providing value to your clients, you're not just designing beautiful things, you're designing beautiful things that have reasoning behind them, that have purpose, that are going to have an impact on your clients. I think it's the helpful. I mean, also business strategy. It's impactful, but also I think when you have a purpose behind your business, you know why you're doing it and who you're doing it for. It just provides you a way forward in a lot of ways that I think is beneficial.
I think there's a lot of solutions, but one of those is what she said, is just to think about what your vision is and keep to that vision and keep to your values. But the other thing is also that everything you do impacts the industry, impacts your peers and your colleagues.
Right.
Right. So really thinking about the impact of what you're doing for this one client really has larger impact.
I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. And I think it's good to tell someone, it's a good thing to say, to have some level of a principle to say, no, I cannot do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think it immediately may not feel as great or seem as great, but I think on the long term, it works out better for you.
Completely. Yeah. And saying no, like people are terrified of saying no. They are absolutely terrified of
Especially
that.
creatives.
Yeah, they're people pleasers, right? And so that's a lot of what we spend our time teaching our clients is how to qualify clients better, how to push back on their team, on their clients in ways that are not confrontational, but human to human, right? So saying no is not as hard as people think it is. It's really an important kind of skill to have and something the business owner has to have, being able to say no.
I love it.
And not only turning no's into yeses. I hate that expression. Like, not all no's are yeses. Some no's are no.
Right. I love that. All right. So as we get ready to close, where can people go to find you, to learn more about the awesome stuff that you guys are doing?
Yeah, so we're like, we have our website. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, all the standard locations. Sign up for our newsletter. We send like a great quarterly newsletter that usually has some sort of thought leadership piece and talks about where we're speaking and where we're moving and where we're going to be at. So yeah.
Yeah, we also write usually once every 2 or 3 months an article for Print Magazine.
Oh, nice.
So you can find our thought leadership on that platform. And that's part of our idea of sharing more best practices across the industry. Yeah.
I love that. This has been a pleasure. I just love.
Yeah.
One thing I've learned that there's a difference between being honest and being transparent, and I just appreciate how transparent you guys have been.
Yeah. No, it's great. And it's great to reconnect with you again. I'll probably see you again at some other conference.
I know, right?
And this time I'll recognize you.
I promise you, it's no big deal. The last conference we were at, Emily did not recognize me, Hunter, and
I had no clue.
Sometimes she doesn't recognize me.
No, I promise. It's no worries at all. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show.
Yeah.
This has been
Thank
awesome.
you so much.
Yeah, it was great meeting
really
you.
Fun.